We've put these two Enduro heavyweights, Trek Slash and Specialized Enduro, head to head to find out which is best. They're both big travel, hard-hitting Enduro machines, but they have completely different suspension designs. So how do they work? What are they great at? What are they not so good at? And which one will suit you best? But first, a big thanks to Madison for sponsoring this video and giving me some fresh garms to wear. If you want to know more, hit the link in the description. But now, on with the show. Both the Slash and Enduro fit the mould of a modern, hard-hitting Enduro bike. 170mm of travel, tough yet light componentry, aggressive geometry, and the ability to climb efficiently back uphill. Trek Slash has a high pivot suspension design and a mixed wheel size setup, whilst the Enduro uses a more conventional low pivot location and 29-inch wheels front and rear. To really understand the differences between the two bikes and what the designers were trying to achieve, we're going to have to take a deeper dive. If you want the full lowdown, click the links in the description for sumptuously detailed reviews from our full-time test team. If you want the highlights, stick with me and we'll go and look at the suspension. Let's go! Trek's new Slash is designed around a high pivot suspension setup, which uses a 19-tooth idler pulley to route the chain above the swing arm and provide high anti-squat numbers to control the bike's pedaling characteristics. To learn more about what high pivot suspension designs are, hit the link here. Specialized Enduro uses a 6-link suspension design, with a horsed link dictating the axle path and 2 extra links controlling the actuation of the rear shock. There's no idler on the Enduro, as its low pivot design allows the designers to manage anti-squat forces without one. It's worth noting that the anti-squat forces on the Enduro are less aggressive than on the Slash. Later in the video, I'll ride the bikes and compare how these platforms perform, but for now, let's find out about their key features. The Slash runs a mixed wheel size setup, which combines the extra grip and improved rollover of the larger 29-inch front wheel with the nimbleness and lower rotating mass of the smaller 27.5-inch rear wheel. The Specialized runs 29-inch wheels front and rear. A larger rear wheel can offer improved rollover ability and increased contact patch compared to a 27.5-inch rear wheel. Both bikes have aggressive geometry, as you might expect from a modern Enduro bike. Their low bottom bracket heights of around 350mm helps the bike with stability in a straight line and predictability when cornering. Head angle is a similar story, with a slack 63.9 degrees for the Enduro and an even more relaxed 63.3 degrees for the Slash, with adjustable cups offering the chance to go to a staggering 62.6 degrees. When you bear in mind that Trek's downhill bike, the iconic Session, only has a 63-degree head angle, this is pretty out there. Why would you want a slack head angle? Well, it adds stability in a straight line and can help the bike's ability to deal with big hits to the front wheel, because it puts the rider further behind the bike's front axle. Chainstays are a compact 434mm on the mullet-equipped Slash and a more rangy 442mm on the 29er Enduro. Although the Slash's chainstays will grow during the middle of the suspension's travel, so this static figure doesn't reflect this. In general, shorter chainstays feel more nimble and make it easier to pop the bike into a manual, whereas longer chainstays favour stability. Sizing wise, a large Slash and a large Enduro are almost identical in reach, at a shade below 490mm. This provides a roomy cockpit for the rider and stability at high speed. Now, let's move on to the build components. The new Slash has just been released and the 9.9 AXS XO model costs £9,400. The Enduro has been around in this guise since 2020, which means that the Enduro Comp, which comes in with a lower spec than the Slash, costs nearly half as much at £5,000. Is the Slash twice as much bike? Well, let's dive into the componentry and find out. The lightweight carbon wheels on the Slash are absolutely top notch. They're incredibly light but also very stiff. It's worth remembering that the Slash 9.9 AXS XO costs a whole bike's worth of cash more than the Enduro Comp. And although the Enduro Comp's wheel set is slightly heavier, they would be much cheaper to replace if the worst did happen. The swanky SRAM AXS XO gears on the Slash offer a zero effort and low maintenance option in the drivetrain department. But is it really worth the extra price tag? Well, the silky smooth operation and consistent shifting is very cool, and you never ever need to replace a sticky gear cable again. Goodbye cable routing, internal or external. But call me old school, I quite like the feedback through your thumb from an analog shifter, and I have a lot less anxiety about smashing the cheaper cable operated mech on a rock. The one-piece carbon cockpit on the Slash is as futuristic and expensive looking as they come. It would probably look more at home on a time trial road bike than an enduro bike. Whilst it didn't bother me, some testers bemoaned the lack of sweep adjustment on the handlebars, but there's no denying the feather-light weight and smooth contours of this integrated bar and stem. It's worth bearing in mind though that there are more glitzy and expensive models of the Enduro available, and on the other hand more budget-conscious Slashes you can buy as well. Enough chat about the bits, let's take them out on the trail. The Specialized feels stable when climbing thanks to the steep seat angle and long wheelbase, and the 29-inch rear wheel provides ample traction. So it's capable uphill for a 170mm travel bike, and I had no trouble getting to the top of even the steepest climbs. However, when it comes to ascending, the Slash breezes up the climbs easily, dispelling any worries of drag from the idler slowing it down. This is possibly a combination of the RockShox Vivid Shock's firm compression tune, the steep seat angle, and the high anti-squat numbers that the Slash has. When descending, the Enduro carries really good speed on rough terrain, probably a combination of the 29-inch wheels, generous sizing, and aggressive angles. As expected with the high pivot design on the Slash, there was again a feeling of carrying great speed over rough terrain. The firm compression tune on the RockShox Vivid Shock felt supportive at low speed, but our testers said the suspension's compression felt lethargic and heavy, not highlighting the best features of a high pivot design. Superbly sensitive suspension. It's definitely a bike which is at its best when pushed to the limit. Onto the Enduro now, and its 170mm of travel offers excellent traction. The RockShox Super Deluxe coil shock felt supple and compliant, and there was plenty of grip from the rear wheel, particularly under braking. For out and out speed across rough terrain, the Enduro is hard to beat. But what about in the corners? I really like the mixed wheel size setup of the Slash. It felt confidence inspiring in corners, easy to turn in, and let me hooligan around confident that the rear wheel would brake grip first, allowing long progressive drifts. Perhaps it was the 29-inch rear wheel of the Enduro or the longer chainstays, but it felt like the bike wanted to stand me up in the corners. Especially on sharper corners, it required a lot of body language to initiate the turn. However, on flatter, drifty turns, although the Slash was more fun, it felt like the bigger wheel of the Enduro and the extra stability allowed me to exit with more speed. When jumping, both bikes were very capable, stable and predictable in the air. But it was the Slash with the edge. The smaller rear wheel, shorter chainstays and lighter weight added up to a bike you could really throw around in the air, putting a grin on my face on every jump. Two great Enduro bikes with builds available to suit all budgets from mild to wild. The two main things that divide these bikes are personal preference and riding style. If you're after an all-rounder, you'll love the Slash. It's fun to jump, confidence inspiring and a hoot in the corners. However, if you're after an Enduro race machine which offers maximum efficiency in all situations, you could be better off plumping for the Enduro. A bike which extracts the maximum forward momentum from every situation and offers impressive stability at the highest speed and in the roughest conditions. Ultimately, either bike will perform admirably at an Enduro race or at the bike park and come back for more. If you want to know more about either of these bikes, head to BikeRadar.com or click the links in the description for reviews from our ultra-fit bike nerds. If you're left with any questions, pop them in the comments below and we'll answer them. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more news from the world of mountain biking. Woohoo! All right, let's go riding.